calls her a disgrace, and says, "You're not my type." I mean, what?
Here you
Who
have
does
like a
this?
77-year-old guy that has been dining out on
And he's
Kentucky Fried
seething.
Chicken and Big Mac for years. Who does Donald Trump think? Whose type does Donald Trump think he is? And he's going
Yeah.
around telling all these women, "Oh, you're not my type." Seriously, look
Right.
at that. Just look at that.
Now, Joe.
And he's going around telling women, "You're not my type."
I'm glad you said that.
That would be like me, like going to the Lakers and say, "You know what? You're not my type of basketball team. I'm not going to play for you guys."
Okay.
Come on. Wait, can we get a close up? Can we get some shots of him golfing?
Yeah, I was just going to get the golf shots up.
Look at this. "You're not my type."
Joe Scarborough, my friend, you want some photos and videos of Donald Trump on the golf course? We've got them.
Ew! Ew!
I believe those are called man boobs or moobs.
Ew.
Even more gross, listen to President Trump's comment about the woman golfer.
This would increase the LPGA ratings, even though she'd shoot 190. The ratings would go skyrocketing.
Because in Trump world, the only things that matter are ratings and attractiveness. But by their own logic, ugh. Morning, Joe. Carry on. You were discussing Donald Trump's evaluation of people's attractiveness.
This guy's the judge on that?
It's a very cruel thing to say, and on many levels, it's just rude.
You know, it's
and,
also a joke. Can we go back to that picture that this guy is passing out judgments on people? He calls Ron DeSantis Meatball Ron. You're looking at Meatball Don here. I mean, really, what's? I don't judge people by their looks for a good reason, right? I don't look like Eddie Glaude Jr. Now, if I looked like Eddie Glaude Jr., I might pass the judgment out a little bit more. But
And that is Eddie Glaude Jr., professor at Princeton and a guest on Morning Joe. Anyway, kudos to Joe and his team for a hilarious segment. The news that prompted all of this was the deposition from Donald Trump and the lawsuit against him for alleged rape. One of Trump's repeated defenses under oath was that he couldn't have had anything to do with the accuser because of her looks, because she wasn't his type. Trump offered the same defense a few years ago when confronted with allegations of an extramarital affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump ridiculed her looks with barnyard insults. But as we just established, people who live in glass houses should not be throwing stones. And if Donald Trump is going to attack anybody based on their looks or attractiveness, well, many of us have a plethora of videos and photos of Trump. And Mr. Former President, most of those photographs are not very pretty. Now, all of this may sound juvenile and beneath the biggest issues and challenges of our time, but one of the impacts of Trump on this era of time is the dismissal of civility and the throwing out of basic manners and decency. Within the Republican Party, Trump wannabes at both the federal and state level are imitating Donald Trump and think it's somehow funny and endearing to engage in slurs and insulting nicknames. On social media, all standards seem to have been loosened, and what passes for political discourse online now, across the spectrum, is a vile cesspool of taunts and insults. I'll admit, I've engaged in a few smackdowns myself, but I'm not proud of that. Donald Trump, by contrast, revels in his mud wrestling and lies. And so it goes. Eventually, it's not going to be just a television show that returns Trump's trash. Trump is facing a string of jury trials that could literally make him pay. By the way, one of Donald Trump's biggest cheerleaders in the U.S. House, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia, has been caught putting lies in the congressional record.
Yeah, when I was in 11th grade and Joe Biden made our schools gun-free school zones.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.